Welcome to Finding Your Way with Lori and Tonya. I'm Lori.
I'm Tonya.
And today we're going to talk about friendships and other relationships, how to draw in ones that are really good for you, and how to let go of some that may not be serving you.
Yes, and so I mean that's important. I think during the conversation we will talk about how to create the ones that you want, and it's double and important to let go of the ones that don't serve you. So as we create and let go, I think you'll find that the joy that you get out of your relationships is going to be very different.
Yeah, so there was a time in my life where I was going through some personal stuff, and I really did just withdraw into myself. And so it wasn't necessarily that I deliberately pushed people away, but I just sort of went inward a little bit. And when I came out of that headspace and looked around, nobody was there because I had, been saying no to go into things. I had disengaged by not communicating and not keeping track with people and letting them know how I was and asking how they were and those kind of things. So, you know, just from personal experience, once you've gone through something like that, you do figure out how to re-engage and there is onus on ourselves. I mean, Tonya was one of those friends that stuck through that period of time with me, but and didn't get offended because I had disengaged. And so when I came back around to go, wait a minute, I don't have people to do things with or that kind of thing, and re-engage. She didn't hold that against me for having almost pushed her away a little bit. It was almost like just honoring that sometimes we need to do that.
And we need space, and sometimes space is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I think it also gives you an idea of who your real friends are.
Who's still there when you pick your head up.
Right, and I had a similar situation. I mean, I had a big personal time in my life where personally it just wasn't great, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go to things. I didn't feel like I wanted to talk to people. I really had to take care of my family and take care of my home relationships and try to manage. I was so busy and between work and kids and life, I didn't have time and didn't make time for other people. And the same thing, that I remember coming around one day and feeling better and kind of feel, you got to go through a depressive state. Yeah. And I feel like I remember looking up and almost seeing, okay, the clouds started to part and the sun was shining, and looking around and there was nobody there, and thinking, gosh, how am I? So I'm a very social person, for those of you who don't know me personally. So how did I go from this social butterfly to this recluse in a cocoon? And now I'm back to wanting to be around people again, and there's not a lot of people around. And this did a couple of things for me. I think it weeded out some folks that I did not necessarily need and that wasn't serving me and I wasn't serving. And then it also gave me, I kind of missed some folks like Lori. We've got a couple of other friends that I kind of went, wow, I really miss those relationships. And it gave me some understanding about how important those true friendships are and the difference between the two.
Yeah, so it's important if you're feeling like we have felt in the past, where you're picking your head up. Maybe something's happened where you had pulled away from others, and you pick your head up and you're wanting those deep relationships, and you don't know where to start. I think really it's just assessing how you got to this place. That's what I had to do. Also, it's really getting intentional about what you want to bring back in. Like, do you want to bring in all the people that may have not been for your best good, or are you really wanting this time to bring in quality friendships, deep understanding, loving support? And that's where I was, where I wanted to be intentional about the types of relationships Absolutely. I entered into. And there's all sorts of things you can do with that. It's getting clear about what those are. And then it's also taking responsibility to be that for others. Absolutely. So like Tonya's over there, doing her thing while I'm, in my little cocoon, like you called it. And she didn't know I was ready to re-engage unless I had done that. Like, I had to reach out and start showing up for things and start accepting invitations and calling to see how her day went and that kind of thing. So it is sort of getting clear on what you want, but then also being what you want, so that you
Absolutely.
attract that to you.
Being the friend that you want others to be to you. And I think sometimes that's hard because it makes us a little vulnerable. And not even friendships, but all our relationships. If we really look at the types of relationships we want, how do we start? And we start by being those relationships. I was listening to somebody recently, and they said, make your list. Like, okay, so your relationship list of your perfect guy or your perfect friend, and you write all the attributes you want from that person. That's a great way to start, because you got to be clear on what you're trying to attract, right? And then secondly, be those things on that list. And if you can't be one of those things, then you have to take it off. How can you expect somebody else to be something that you can't be? And so I think that that's where this comes into play, is you can't expect others to give you what you're not already putting out. So law of attraction, right? What you put out, you get back. So be in the things on the list, be in the friend that you want to be in the relationship person you want to be. That's how you start attracting and gaining those friendships that you want.
Yeah, so recently I had a situation where I started thinking about somebody that I had really been close to in the past. And I looked up and I was like, I really haven't heard from them in a while. And so I had to do a self-assessment of, okay, well, is it me? Like, have I not communicated? Have I not? And I looked back over a course of time and I was like, well, I really have tried to reach out, and, they just haven't been responsive. And so that then switches things a little bit, where either I could continue to try to be what I want them to be for me and chase that a little bit, or, just sort of go with the flow. And, maybe there's a reason why that particular person isn't responding and that kind of thing. And if you've done all you can do, you got to be okay with letting go of specific people. Yes. But maybe it's more getting clear about the kind of attributes you want. Maybe that comes in the form of somebody else.
Right. And letting go of a relationship is just as important as attracting one, right? So there are people in our lives that just don't serve us anymore. They're here for a reason and a season. They've taught us some lessons. What we did have with them may have been fantastic, but it's run its course. And it's okay to eliminate those people. Now, you don't do it in a negative, ugly way, but it is okay to stop making the effort when they're not responding to you. It's okay. Now, maybe they're in their cocoon like we were.
Right.
And that's okay too. Give them that grace. But it's okay not to make the effort if the effort makes you feel bad. If their response or non-response makes you feel bad, it's okay to let that go. And if it comes back around, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Some people are for a reason in the season, and then it's time to move on. And those relationships are good ones, or were good ones at the time, and are also life lessons on how to let things go.
Yeah, and so one other tip is you have to be open and honest with people, and like you said, vulnerable. So, maybe Tonya invites me to 10 different things. I have to honor myself as to whether I want to go to those things, but I also need to be honest with her and say it's, maybe this no now, but don't quit asking me, And so that's one thing I had to do, because, past pattern, was I tell her no twice, and it's like, okay, she must not be ready or whatever. But now I feel like I'm more open and communicate a little bit better and say, I can't come tonight, but please don't quit asking me, know. And so I think there's things that we can do to draw those people to us, the kind of relationships we want, and then to keep them and maintain them once we have what we want.
Being the friend you want to have is key. Letting the ones go that doesn't serve us, attracting the ones that do, and it's okay. We talk about quality and quantity. Neither one is good or bad. You decide. You get to decide what that looks like for you. Some people have a tight-knit group of 2 or 3 friends, and they are solid and they're fantastic. And then there are folks like I've got several circles of anywhere from 2 to 4 friends in each circle, and there's probably 4 or 5 of those circles that they fulfill me. Each one of those groups of people really serve me, and I feel like I serve, I hope I do, in a good way. And so the fact that I have several groups and 15 or 20 is right for me. doesn't make it right for anybody else, or better or less than anybody else's relationship. So don't judge yours on how many other people have, or what the content or the context of other people's relationships.
Yeah, and so it's not just friendship. So it's romantic. You know, if you're lonely and you're ready for a romantic partner, it's the same concept of, what are you putting out there? Are you clear? Are you putting out what you want in return? Same thing at work. Like if you're having trouble with employees being untrustworthy, well, are you being, honest and that kind of thing? So it's almost always looking at your responsibility in each situation.
Absolutely.
And it's not always your fault or anything like
No.
that. It's just being aware. And then if it is something that you could do differently, do that. But if not, be willing to release that maybe things
Maybe they're not
are ready to
Yeah, and that's
be
okay.
gone.
Yes, absolutely. So we hope that you will take some inventory on how your relationships, especially your friendships, look right now. Are they serving you? Are they not? Which ones you should put a little more effort into, or maybe let go of? And then what's your list? Do you have a list of folks or attributes that you want to try to draw to you, and are you being that list? So hopefully this will help you. Just take some inventory and stock on what relationships you have right now.
Yep, and we wish you just the best quality relationships that you want.
And so if you felt like this was helpful, please like our page, subscribe to our page. That would be wildly beneficial. And also share this with someone else that you know may could use this information. And then we are also got a great group called the Positive Vibe Tribe on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, so we've got quite a few, about 3,000 folks, in our group, and every day is some great nugget and tidbit of just positive energy and positive information, so we'd love for you to be a part of that. So subscribe here, share here, but also go and find us on Facebook. All right, guys, y'all have a great day.